President Obama looking to propose a $10 a barrel tax on oil. Politico reported that story. Reporter Michael Grunwald broke it. He joins me now. Michael, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So you wrote that President Obama is hoping to fund a new clean transportation system by this oil tax. My first question is anyone going to buy into a new tax?
Well, the Republicans who control Congress aren't. This is definitely, it's going to be in his budget next week, but it will surely be dead on arrival for 2016 at least. It's an election year. Republicans are pretty much constitutionally opposed to taxes of any kind anyway. And they did just finally pass, after 7 years, a bipartisan transportation bill that Obama signed. Said it was not exactly what he wanted. It's sort of more a status quo bill than the kind of clean transportation stuff he's looking at. But this is not going to be anywhere on the congressional agenda for a while.
So why do you think he's proposing it? It's kind of interesting in terms of the timing, and as you mentioned, that bill just getting signed.
Well, this is definitely Obama sort of laying down a marker and making a statement about his vision for the future, both on the infrastructure and transportation side, where he's essentially saying, look, the kind of old system where, Congress gives hundreds of billions of dollars to states to build more roads and bigger highways that have more traffic and create more carbon emissions is not the way to go. He's pushing mass transit, more high-speed rail, as well as things like self-driving cars and electric vehicles, various even land use changes at the state and local level, ways to sort of have a new kind of transportation system that guzzles less gasoline, less dependent on oil, and uses fewer carbon emissions. But at the same time, he's also saying, like, this bill we just passed, which put $300 billion into transportation and really didn't have a way to pay for it, that's not acceptable either. That in the future, if we're going to talk about how our infrastructure is crumbling and that we really need to do something about it, which Republicans and Democrats do, that there has to be a way to pay for it all. And in the last bill used all kinds of crazy gimmicks that everybody knew were gimmicks, but because there was such demand for infrastructure, everybody agreed to look the other way. This is saying, like, hey, if you're going to talk about how we need to make the country more competitive and we need to put people to work on these big public works, we got to pay for it. And if not with taxes, and if not with carbon taxes, then hey, make me an offer.
So what did you hear from your sources after the story broke? What's kind of behind the scenes reaction to this idea?
Well, I think Republicans are just laughing it off. Their position is essentially, no taxes. This is Obama dumping on the oil industry at a time when oil prices are low, and the industry is in deep trouble. You heard a lot of, oil, low energy prices are the only good thing that's happening in America right now, and Obama wants to kill it. On the Democratic side, now Hillary Clinton has not taken a position on this, which is it puts her in a little bit of a box, because she has talked about a lot of the same kind of clean transportation stuff. She's been a big supporter of mass transit, has talked a lot about trying to make the system sort of more efficient and greener. But at the same time, she's also said she's opposed to any taxes on families earning less than $250,000 a year. And while this tax would be paid by oil companies, everybody knows that to some extent it would get passed along to consumers, could add up to as much as about 25 cents a gallon. Now, again, right now, gas is only $2 a gallon. Some Republicans had said during the 2012 campaign that you could see it going to $6 a gallon if Obama is reelected, and that hasn't happened. But that said, nobody likes paying more at the pump. And Hillary Clinton, back in 2008, when she ran against Obama, was actually talking for a gas tax holiday. So it's hard to imagine her jumping up and embracing this idea of higher gas taxes.
Well, it was a very interesting story. Michael Grunwald, we're glad you spent some time with us on it. Thanks.
Thanks for having me, Rhonda.
I'm Rhonda Schaffler for TheStreet.